Hello, today I'm going to show you how to use Pallet to create a configuration project for configuring a machine that will run Nagios. What we're going to do is start a Nagios node using Pallet and tear it back down again. I'm going to start by creating a project using Liningham, command line tool, line new, and I'm going to call my project my config. Line is going to create my project. Let's change directory into that and edit the project.clj file that it creates. My configuration project description. And I'm going to add some dependencies. I'm going to need pallet, which is org.cloud/pallet. And we just built the 0.2 release. And we're going to need jclouds, which is the library used to talk to the different cloud providers. And we're just going to use jclouds all, which is all the jcloud dependencies in one jar. In reality, you'd probably want to just add the jar files that you need for your specific providers. And we're using 1.0 beta 7 for jclouds. I'm also going to add a dev dependency for the line plugin for Pallet. CloudHoist Pallet line, and that's at 0.1.0. Okay, now I can go back to the shell and I can pull down those dependencies. Now, obviously, I have all these dependencies in my local Maven repository directory. So what it's going to do is copy the files from that directory. But the first time you run this, it's obviously going to have to download most of those. Okay, now we have all the dependencies. We're going to edit the configuration file itself. I'm just going to use the file that Line created. Cool. And we'll add the pallet dependencies. Pallet core namespace. Core. Need the pallet resource namespace. Resource. And we're going to need the automated admin user crate. Set up our user account. And we're going to need the Nagios crate to install Nagios. Okay, now I have those in, I can define my node, then just core namespace, and call my node. I'm going to use the default template for the instance size and choice of distribution. I'm going to specify a bootstrap phase, which is a phase that just runs on the first startup of the instance. In that phase, I'm going to specify a phase function with our automated admin user, which just sets up a user that uses the SSH credentials, your local SSH credentials, and your local username. Can be configured to do other things as well. And add a configure phase to actually install Nagios. And we're going to have to specify a password for the Nagios admin interface, Nagios password. Okay, so now we have to tell Pallet how to use the credentials for the cloud provider, and these we're storing in Maven settings.xml file. which looks something like this. So we've set up a profile, in this case called Rackspace, and we've activated it by default. So it's actually going to use this profile, and we're specifying the provider, which is Rackspace's cloud servers, and a username and password, which is identity credential. It has various different names in different clouds. You need to set that file up, and then we can go back to the shell and use the line pallet plugin and tell it to converge, which means to alter the number of machines that we have. And we specify the node, which was myconfig.core/mynode, and we want one of them. And this is going to start a node in Rackspace and install Nagios and fire it up, and we're going to have a look at the web interface. Obviously this takes a little bit of time. By default the logging isn't configured, so it's going to be pretty verbose. We'll come back when that's done. Okay, so that command is now completed. So we can take the IP address of the node that it started into our web browser, and have a look. Nagios admin, and the password that we provided. Nagios password. And there's our node up and running. Obviously I haven't actually configured it to monitor very much at the moment, but that's a subject for another screencast. Okay, now if I'm going to destroy the node that we just created by changing the node count back to 0. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.